In the summer of 1929, thousands of people watched a house burn with 15 people inside it, and they applauded. They laughed. They cheered at the screams. Because every single one of them believed it was part of the show. This is the story of the Gillingham fete disaster, a tragedy so grotesque, so uniquely cruel in its staging, that England quietly let it slip from memory. Gillingham, Kent, July the 11th, 1929. Every year, the local fire brigade held a charity fete in the park, a festival to raise money for the hospital. And every year, the centerpiece was the same, a spectacular demonstration of a house fire and a daring rescue. The firemen had built a mock house for the occasion, a 3-story structure of wood, canvas, and scaffolding standing alone on the grass. The plan was rehearsed and simple. A pretend wedding party, 6 firemen and 9 boys, sea cadets and scouts, aged 10 to 14, would climb inside and wave from the windows. The brigade would arrive with ladders, carry out the guests to applause, and only then, once the building was empty, would smoke flares and fireworks be lit to burn the empty shell as a grand finale. Dummies dressed in clothing were placed inside, so that when the flames rose, the crowd would see figures in the fire and gasp at the realism. That detail, the dummies, is the hinge on which this entire horror turns. Just before 8 in the evening, the boys and the firemen climbed into the house and took their positions at the windows. The crowd, 1,000 strong, families, children on shoulders, settled in to watch. And then, before a single rescue had been made, the fire started. To this day, no one knows exactly how. A signal misread, a flare lit early, a hand on a match that history never identified. What is certain is that the flames did not begin at the finale. They began at the start, with all 15 still inside a structure of dry timber, tar, and canvas, soaked in preparation for a fast, dramatic burn. The building went up in under a minute. Figures appeared at the upper windows, waving, beating at the frames, screaming, and the crowd cheered. They had been told there would be dummies in the fire. They had been promised realism. So when a boy climbed onto a window ledge with his clothes alight, the audience saw a brilliant piece of theater and applauded him. Witnesses later described the moment the illusion broke. The screaming didn't stop when the smoke thickened. The figures at the windows moved wrong, too desperate, too human. Somewhere in the crowd, a woman recognized her son's voice. The applause died in waves, section by section, as thousands of people understood, all at once, what they were watching. The real firemen and the ones outside might have fought to reach them. Ladders went up into flame. Some of the men inside threw themselves from the structure. But the house had been built to burn beautifully, and it did. It collapsed inward while the crowd stood frozen on the grass. All 15 died. 6 firemen and 9 boys who had volunteered because being rescued in front of the whole town was the greatest adventure a child in Gillingham could imagine. The inquest that followed was a study in helplessness. Testimony contradicted testimony. No one could say who lit the fire or why or on what signal. The verdict was accidental death, misadventure. No one was ever held responsible. The event that killed 9 children in front of their own parents was ruled in the end an accident with no author. Gillingham buried its dead together in Woodland Cemetery, beneath a memorial the town still tends. The fate was never held the same way again, and England, a country that memorializes its disasters in stone and verse, largely chose to forget this one. Perhaps because there was no villain, perhaps because the true horror wasn't the fire at all. It was the applause. Every person in that crowd carried it for the rest of their lives, the knowledge that they had cheered while children burned, that the sound the dying boys heard was thousands of people clapping, not out of cruelty, out of trust. They believed what they'd been told they were seeing, and maybe that's why this story still matters nearly a century later. It's a reminder written in fire that a crowd will watch almost anything, endure almost anything, celebrate almost anything, as long as someone has assured them it isn't real. If stories like this one deserve to be remembered, subscribe to Obscura, because history's darkest chapters are the ones it tries hardest to forget. Turn on notifications and leave a comment. What forgotten disaster should we uncover next?